Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For the last couple of months, alongside my full-time job, I've been actively working on my mobile app. And to be honest, there were moments I feel completely frustrated, wasting hours on annoying problems. So in today's video, I want to share 5 painful mistakes I made during development that ended up costing me a lot of time and energy. The first mistake is poor planning. One evening I spent around 3 hours tweaking the look of a form input, playing with spacing, colors and other tiny design details. At the same time, I had 2 tasks sitting in Trello, implementing authentication via Google and Apple ID. These are core features for any serious app. Of course, the importance of those authentication tasks are way higher than the style tweaks. And lesson learned, not all tasks have the same priority. And if you treat them like they do, they will absolutely eat up your time. And by the way, I ended up implementing both auth methods in about the same time I wasted styling that form. The second mistake I made is oversimplifying solutions. At the start of development, I had to pick a library to work with SQLite. Since my app is local first, almost all the data is stored locally. I was choosing between 2 Swift libraries, the lightweight SQLite.Swift and the more advanced GRDB. Back then I thought, I'll just write some simple queries and SQLite Swift should be enough. Fast forward a couple of weeks, I needed to write a complex query with multiple joins and CTEs, and of course SQLite Swift just couldn't handle that. So I had to remove it and integrate GRDB. That migration took me about 3 full days of work. Again, this one is related to poor planning. The next really annoying mistake is overcomplicating things. My app needs a sync mechanism to push data from mobile devices to the server and pull back acknowledged events. Each device must know which events have already been processed to avoid unnecessary API calls. At first, I was seriously considering using a Merkle tree for that, and to be fair, it's a super interesting data structure. By the way, if you want to learn more about that, check out the YouTube channel that is called Jason Has No Life. The guy's just awesome. I'll drop a link in the description. After digging into it for a few days, I realized this is probably an overkill for my use case, and I ended up just using a simple integer-based sequence column in my Postgres database to track acknowledged events, and it worked just perfectly. Sure, I lost some time exploring the Merkle tree idea, but maybe I'll reuse that knowledge elsewhere someday. So some mistakes give me an experience. Another mistake was relying too much on AI. While building my sync logic, which got kinda complex, I asked the LLM integrated into my IDE to generate tests. I gave all the context and asked it to write comprehensive test cases. And all the tests passed and looked clean, but something felt off. So I reviewed the generated code and turns out some key business logic wasn't being tested at all. I had to manually add missing test cases and remove a few that made no sense to me. What would I do next time? I won't avoid using AI, but I will definitely change the approach. I will ask the LLM to suggest test scenarios, but I'll write the actual test myself. It is just too easy to miss important logic if you don't control the process. The final mistake is actually more about mindset. This one isn't technical, it's more about how I work. When I touch the code base for 3, 5, even 7 days in a row, I feel pretty amazing. Even if I'm not making huge progress, I feel like I'm moving forward. But when I skip a few days or a week, it doesn't feel like I'm continuing the project. It feels like I'm starting from scratch. And the main reason for that is I lose context. And there are two problems here. The mental one, when I have to relearn what I was working on previously, I have to dive into the code, maybe check the docs again. And the second problem is psychological. I need to push through that mental gap and get started again. And that is simply tough. I'm not saying you shouldn't rest. Rest is absolutely necessary, but if you commit to something big, it just feels better to be systematic. So I'd rather moving in baby steps, but keep moving, daily or almost daily. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful or interesting, consider subscribing, I would really appreciate it. And let me know your thoughts regarding the topics I raised in this video. I would love to read about that. See you in the next one.